Tonight, a very special, a very important show for you. I am here live in Houston, Texas, to sit down with the families of all 5 Americans being held captive in a Venezuelan jail by Nicolas Maduro and his brutal socialist regime. It has been 443 days since their loved ones were taken. And tonight, for the very first time, they are speaking out together, all of them. It was supposed to be a routine business trip to Caracas. These 5 American engineers, along with a green card holder, traveled to Venezuela under orders from their parent company. They had traveled there before without issue, and they just assumed that this trip would be like any of the others. But it wasn't. It wasn't. Instead, the men were kidnapped by Maduro's thugs and thrown in jail with the dictator telling his country that the Americans were, quote, thieves and that they deserved the worst jail in all of Venezuela. The 5 Americans and the U.S. green card holder, their fathers, husbands, brothers, their grandfathers, and every one of their loved ones misses them terribly. Tonight, these families speak out for the very first time. And I just want to stress for you how scary this is, how scary it is for them. You know, we didn't promote this show. We didn't tell anyone other than immediate production members involved in preparing this program tonight that the families would be here and that they were coming forward. And we did this to protect them and to protect their loved ones. These family members and the hostages have been threatened, and they've been told not to speak out. Maduro does not want them speaking out, but the families, they want to, because they want their loved ones to come home. Alexandra Forsyth, Jessica Zambrano, Carlos Añez, Maria Elena Cardenas, Sergio Cardenas, Cristina Vidal, Veronica Vidal, Mervis Pereira, and Joao Pereira are all here with me now. And let me just start by saying you are very brave, but it's really important. Carlos, what happened? Your dad went on a business trip and never came home.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for having us. It really means the world to us that you're carrying this story forward and bringing it out. And yeah, it was supposed to be a business trip just like the ones that he had taken before. They flew down on November the 19th of 2017. And on November 21st, that Tuesday morning, my mom received a text from my dad saying, "I'm coming home. I'll be there in time for Thanksgiving." And just a couple hours later, we heard the news, and we didn't hear from him again for about another 30 days. And here we are, about a little over 14 months now, and we're pleading for help of our President Donald Trump, of Mr. Maduro, Mr. Guaido, down to the jailer holding the keys to their cell. Please, if you understand human rights, if you understand grief, what we're going through, if you believe in justice, you can act and you can let them come back home.
Jessica, how did you find out?
I was at work, Trish, and preparing for a meeting I was about to lead, and I saw a bunch of missed calls from my sister. I immediately called. She said, "Alexandra, Dad just got arrested." I said, "What?" I was in complete shock, and, you know, it's been a blur for our families ever since. There's not a moment I don't think about him.
Yeah. You know, I know, Christina and Veronica, you and I have talked previously. Your father also gone now. What is it like just on a day-to-day basis? Are you able to talk to him at all? Do you have any correspondence?
Yeah, he gets to call every now and then. There's weekly calls for most of the men, but if we're not with our mother, we might miss it. And I mean, we work, and so it's very hard. Our life has been on hold, and not being able to just call your dad when you need something, when you just want to talk, it's been really difficult.
Joao, have they given you a reason? I mean, did anybody in Venezuela say, and by the way, your father was CEO of the company, Jose Pereira, Citgo being an energy company here in the U.S. We've all been to Citgo gas stations, but it was owned by PDVSA, still is.
Yeah.
Did they give you any explanation?
No, nobody gave us any explanation what his arrest. It's like a blackout for us because we don't know why we're still in jail. So all we have the hope to release him as soon as possible.
Maria Elena, I know that you visited the jail in Caracas and you took your son, 18-year-old Sergio. Your husband, you said he had lost so much weight.
He lost 47 pounds.
47 pounds.
And he was already skinny, so all his muscles are gone. He tried to carry my son that is only 20 pounds, and he couldn't. He couldn't carry him, and we tried to grab my husband because he almost go to the floor with my son in his arms.
What are the conditions, Carlos, like in the jails?
They're extremely difficult for them down there. It's extremely overcrowded. They are in a basement with very little circulation, so they're constantly getting sick. They get about 30 minutes of sunlight a month, and like they were saying, the phone calls that they do get are very quick, and they usually will use the first part of it to say, hey, I need you to bring me water, I need allergy medicine, I need stomach medicine, I need antibiotics, and after they tell us that, then they say, how are you guys doing?
Alexandra, have you been able to ensure that the supplies that you send actually get to your dad?
Trish, for our family as well as all 6 of us, it has been a living nightmare to figure the logistics of getting something to Venezuela. You can only imagine. Through the sporadic phone calls that we get, that's the only assurance that we have that things are getting down there, that they're getting their food, that they have enough water. It's really unbelievable.
Jessica, what do you tell your dad on the few chances that you've gotten to speak to him?
It's really hard to schedule to talk to him because usually it's during the day and my mom is the immediate number. So on those rare chances that he calls in the afternoon or late evening, like the first thing we say is like, oh my God, I miss you so much. Like, I love you. And like, school's good. Like, we try to keep like a calm state of mind to not worry him because his issues are a lot worse than ours.
Yeah, they are. Mervis, has anyone there given you any hope that they might be set free, that your husband might be set free? Not really. No.
It's difficult for me.
I understand. It's very difficult. It's very difficult for all of you. And
yes, because I desperate. I need my husband here. It's difficult, but I don't understand what happened. Why? Why they?
Yeah. No, I mean your dad worked for a lot of years, right? For Citgo. I mean, he ran engineering, or the refinery operation in Lake Charles, Louisiana, and it was pretty normal to go back and forth to Venezuela, maybe a couple times a year. But you said on this particular trip, he was a little bit more reticent. What happened?
I mean, it was right before, Thanksgiving. It was kind of a sporadic call. They were summoned randomly. Hey, you need to go down to this meeting. I don't know. It just didn't feel right.
It didn't feel right.
Yeah, and it's been 14 months that we've been on this journey and trying to bring him back home.
There are a lot of people that work at Citgo in the U.S. Any sense, Carlos, of why they were targeting your families?
No, we do not know for sure. That's a question we've been trying to answer for 14 months. But the most concise hypothesis that we could come up with throughout this time is that they were acting on behalf of their employer, protecting their interests when sanctions were made to Venezuela. They were forced to cut off contact with certain individuals, and that may have made them a target.
You have 2 children, so these are your dad's grandchildren. Ages 5 and 3. What do you tell them?
This is the hardest thing for me because they are being robbed of creating childhood memories with my dad. And my 3-year-old, 14 months is a long chunk of her life, so I show her pictures of my dad so that she won't forget him. And my 5-year-old gets mad because she can't FaceTime with her grandfather, and she doesn't understand why he doesn't have a cell phone. it became routine for us to visit them every weekend, and I want to see him again, holding them and throwing them over his shoulders and playing with them. That's what I miss the most.
Yeah. You all deserve that. I mean, it's not right. It's not right, and there's a lot going on politically right now in that country, which might be helpful. But Alexandra, you told me that there was a riot in your dad's prison the other day, and that has you increasingly concerned about his safety.
Yes, Trish, you know, we are coming out and speaking out loudly and fiercely because on Saturday there are like about 120 people in this basement that's only meant to have maybe 20. And
basement, no windows. No.
And this prison canceled visits, and a lot of the people hadn't seen their family in weeks, and our family members didn't, but a lot of them rioted. My dad called my mom that night, was able to get a call, said that he feared for his life. That's what he said.